Good morning, everyone. Everyone here in person at the Zendo, and everyone who's joining us online. It's been a while since I participated in a Sunday morning program here at the Zendo. It's good to be here with all of you. Nice to see some familiar faces I haven't seen in a while, and I'm also seeing a few newcomers, new to me at least. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name is Ryugin. When Ryoshin Hoshi, who arranges the speaking schedule, recently sent out his sign-up sheet, he said, "Please step off of the 100-foot pole and sign up." I thought to myself, aha! Now I know what I'm going to talk about. He was referencing a famous koan. Many of you know it. It exists in many versions. All of them present the same question. From the top of a pole, 100 feet high, how do you step forward? I think he was trying to encourage us to step away from our perfectionism or our fear or laziness or whatever it is that stops us from doing. It reminded me the time when my wife Hazel and I went skydiving in Hawaii of all places. Now, for me, even climbing a ladder to change a light bulb makes my palms sweat. So obviously, jumping off a plane 14,000 feet above the ground was not high on my to-do list. But Hazel really wanted to do it, and I didn't want to appear lame in the eyes of my back then new fiance. So I scheduled the jump. It was still a few days away, but those few days were like torture. And it got worse and worse as the day of the jump got closer. The 1-hour drive from our hotel to the airport from where we would take off was probably the longest hour of my life. I couldn't stop thinking of all the things that could go wrong, all the creative ways I could get injured or die. When we arrived, a big sign greeted us with the slogan, "No skydiving related deaths since 1987. Somehow I did not feel reassured. But things moved quickly. We filled out some forms, waiving our right to sue in case of an injury, got some basic instruction, and from there, straight onto a little ragged plane. As I remember this story, I'm reminded of our study text this Ango period, the Heart Sutra. We chanted it together earlier today. And especially the lines, "With no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, therefore no fear. Far beyond deluded thoughts, this is nirvana." I never went skydiving before, or talked to someone who did and failed. So from where did I get all these catastrophic ideas? From an evolutionary standpoint, fear makes sense. It is healthy to a certain degree. Self-preservation. Every cell in your body is yelling at you, "Don't do it!" But what is the Heart Sutra telling us? What is there to preserve if there is no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind? Fear is deeply ingrained in us and in all living organisms that survived extinction through millions of years, billions of years of evolution. It protected us from predators. It protected us from other tribes that wanted to kill us. It is one of our most intimate feelings. It can also be abused, foster a strong sense of us versus them, which can lead to prejudice or discrimination, violence against each other, as we know all too well. When talking about these lines, with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, therefore, no fear, far beyond deluded thoughts, this is nirvana. Master Hakuin, in his commentary on the Heart Sutra, says, nothing extraordinary about that. Supernatural power, wondrous activity, just a matter of carrying fuel or drawing water. Lifting my head, I see the setting sun, my old home in the West. Pretty, but cryptic, as Zen masters tend to be. Does he promise me that one day I will be without fear? Yay! I don't think so. A line in his verse that follows gives us a clue. He says, changing freely according to the situation at hand. Can we do that? Respond to the situation at hand and not to some story we have in our head? Well, if I didn't have enough scary ideas of my own, on our way to the plane, I saw the previous batch of brave souls who just landed from their jump. And I noticed one of them wobbling towards me. And when he was about 10 feet away, he stopped, bent down, and puked. What seemed to be his entire dinner from the night before. I was trying to look cool, but by this point, seeing this, my heart was pounding. I almost puked. We entered the plane, 5 or 6 skydivers and our instructors, tied ourselves to a bench, and the plane started moving, taxiing, speeding up. We began our ascent. 15 long minutes until we reached an altitude of 14,000 feet. Which leads me to the question, what is that 100-foot pole anyway? And how does one get to the top? Master Mumon, in his commentary to this koan, offers the following. The top of a pole, 100 feet high, is the summit of the highest mountain, which signifies the purest spirituality. If one settles down there, however, it turns out to be a cave. One has to go into the defiled world, live and work on the busy and crowded street. A Zen person of real attainment and capability is one who has cast off the holy smack of Satori. Satori is a sudden enlightenment. So, according to Master Mumon, the top of the 100-foot pole represents a position of achievement, a height of understanding or training in Zen. But he challenges us to move beyond that position, to move beyond a static state and engage with the world. To me, it suggests that even after reaching a certain level of mastery, there's always more to experience. There is always more to discover, more to offer. When I was a teenager, I had a very good music teacher. I learned a lot from him. Over the years, I even became his apprentice. He used to be so proud when talking about his musical pedigree. A bloodline of composer teachers that ran all the way down to Bach. Yep, Johann Sebastian Bach. Wow, royalty. And now, through him, through my teacher, it continues up to his students. To me, I was proud too to be part of this lineage. In contrast, he always preached, one day you will have to kick me in the butt, out of the way. Kick tradition in the butt. And do your own thing. Speaking of tradition and kicking it in the butt, he was the one who introduced me to the writings of Hannah Arendt. For those of you who don't know her, Hannah Arendt was a historian, philosopher. She viewed tradition as a double-edged sword. On one hand, tradition as a living practice, and on the other hand, traditionalism, or rigid defense of the past. While tradition can provide stability and a sense of direction, too much reliance on it may hinder reflection or innovation, she said. She often spoke about tradition like an inheritance that is passed down from generation to generation. It reminds me of my relationship with my father. My father died 3 months after my daughter Isha was born. And I suddenly found myself on the front line of fatherhood. Not that my father has ever been much of a role model. He's had 5 kids from 4 different wives. He lost everything that he had ever earned. He was a professional bridge burner, an addict. But in the last year of his life, he taught me a very important lesson. In the year before he died, I visited him in his dirty little studio apartment. And by his bedside, I found an envelope with photographs spanning decades of friendships, his children, landscapes that he had traveled, now all far away out of reach. He must have looked through them every night before going to sleep. It was his personal, "What have I done?" moment. For me, it was a big neon sign warning me of how easy it is, no matter how talented or successful you are one day, to run it all into the ground the next day. And especially how hard it is to change our habits, because somehow they feel so stable and comfortable. It made me wonder how much of it was passed down to me. And it was very, very clear to me that I wanted to offer something different to my family. In one of her talks about the Heart Sutra, Enkyo Roshi reminds us that we are not separate from all that is. I am not separate from my genetic inheritance. I am not separate from the world I live in. I am not separate from you right now. She is trying to get us away from the idea of intrinsic beingness, as she calls it, and points out that we, and all the experiences that we've had in our lives, and the experiences of our parents, and 37 of their parents, are all piled up. They too make up this mysterious whole. To me, within this koan, the 100-foot tall koan, is hidden a cautionary tale. What is passed down from generation to generation in the DNA or through training, relationships we've seen growing up, stories that we've heard. There is no escaping them. And what we do with all of that is really important. Would you like to hear how my skydiving experience ended? When we reached an altitude of 14,000 feet, a green sign above our heads lit up, and people were starting to jump. One by one, they disappeared through the little side door until it was my turn. My instructor was already strapped to my back, and we started crouch walking slowly towards the door. Above the door, there was this horizontal bar that I could hold on to. And I did. Oh boy, I did. Like my life depends on it. Suddenly, I felt a slap on my wrist. Instinctively, I released, and off we went. Ah! On a free fall at a speed exceeding 120 miles per hour for about a minute until the parachute opened. I couldn't stop smiling all the way down. About 10 minutes of pure bliss. I was so happy. I felt so free. And it's so beautiful to skydive in Hawaii. You can imagine. You're diving into a postcard. The shoreline and the water, the blues, the greens, mountains, jungle, ocean, all mixed together. It's breathtaking. What I learned from this experience was that, yes, sometimes I'm afraid. So what? Sometimes I'm not afraid. Or in other words, I'm not one fixed thing that was prescribed to me. I am constantly changing. So, from the top of a pole 100 feet high, how do you step forward? I think it takes curiosity to investigate and reinvestigate this pole that we climb, master and reinforce, and then hold on to as if our life depends on it. And it takes courage to step away from a position that feels so stable and comfortable. To fully embrace the present moment and change freely according to the situation at hand, the 100-foot pole koan encourages us to continue to practice, to stay open to new perspectives, and to engage with the world without clinging to past achievements or fixed ideas. And that includes everything I just told you in this talk. I would like to end with a few lines from Kendrick Lamar. I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Quarter piece got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I got hustle though, ambition, flow inside my DNA. I was born like this, since one like this, immaculate conception. I transform like this, perform like this, was Yeshua's new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate. Then off your head